Welcome to Work Relationships Matter. I am your host, D. Edward Jones, a certified life coach who specializes in work relationships. Raymond Noble at Nexa Mortgage is here today to share his thoughts and experiences that will be beneficial to you. Welcome, Raymond.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I look forward to our conversation.
Well, great. Now, Raymond, you have been very successful. You've worked a lot of different places. You've been very successful, but before we get into that one, we'd like to know your backstory, how you grew up, things you gained from that standpoint, because what we found is many times what people learn or role models that they've followed when they were younger sometimes influence what they become later in life. So what is your backstory?
Okay, thank you for asking. I have to take it back to place called Seaside, California. I was born on Fort Ord Army Base, which is on the Monterey Peninsula on Monterey County in a town called Seaside. And my parents, my mother and father were both born in Central America. So in the 50s, I was born in 62. In the 50s, my parents immigrated from Central America, Panama, to the United States. And after they moved here, my father joined the Army, and my mother came shortly after my dad had moved to the United States, and they got married on Fort Ord Army Base after she moved here. So long before I was born, they suffered the true experiences of being in a different country. You know, coming with suitcases and not having a lot of money, and joining the military, and then having culture shock of what it's like traveling through the South back in the 50s. Little bit of a rude awakening. So I've always been cognizant of the fact that I kind of grew up different because my parents were from a different country.
But now, from a Central American country, did they teach you Spanish at home?
My parents, my mother most specifically, did not want us speaking Spanish because it was not customary, or it was not fashionable to be an immigrant, in the 60s. So
okay.
They spoke Spanish when they didn't want us to know what they were talking about. However, when I got to high school, it was kind of mandatory that I take Spanish. And then I also took Spanish when I went to Berkeley. So I have a pretty good command of the language, though I would ask somebody from a native country to maybe slow it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
Yeah. However, my sons, I have two boys, they're 15 and 17, and they both are fluent. I made sure that they went to a Spanish immersion elementary school, and they are fluent in Spanish. So when we go back to Panama, they get to speak to their cousins. I have cousins that don't speak English, and
okay.
So my sons do well in that environment.
All right, and I'm trying to learn Spanish myself. So I may not be as fluent as you or your family, but I'm trying to get there as well. But I think it's always good to know more than one language.
Right. So I want to get a little bit back to the backstory.
Okay.
So growing up, I started playing football when I was 9 years old, and I played all the way through high school. My senior year in high school, I was unlucky, and my sophomore year in high school, I got cut from the football team.
Mm-hmm.
I played as a junior, and then my senior year in high school, I played 3 downs, only because one of my teammates' shoulder pad strap broke. He ran off the field, and I ran on the field, and so I got 3 plays. 3 times they ran my way. I made 3 tackles, and that was the extent of my football career. Right. So, as you're growing up, your dad says, or my dad would say, getting your senior, you're either gonna go to college or you're gonna go to find a job. And if you find a job, then it means you need to start contributing to the household expenses. And so I was out on the beach one day down in Monterey. I started in Seaside and I walked all the way to Monterey, just trying to contemplate life. And I got to the wharf. I was probably maybe 20 yards from the wharf, the pier itself. And I see this Porsche Carrera drive by real slow. And I looked, I was like, that's Reggie Jackson, the baseball player
Yeah,
that's Reggie Jackson right there.
Mr.
I said,
October.
I bet he played. He went to college. I said that must be a sign from God. It's like give him all the glory. I turned around, went home, walked back, got my car, went home. Dad, I'm going to college. So he's like,
All
all
right.
right, all right. So I enroll. I get a set of classes. One class was PE. It was football. So the football coaches, unbeknownst to me, were teaching the class. And one of the coaches, Chris Pappas, was the defensive back coach. And we're going through, and they're just teaching us aspects of the game. And one day, Coach Phillips walks up to me and says, "Hey, do you plan on playing? I mean, who are you? Where did you come from? All that." And I'm like, "Well, my name is Raymond Noble. I went to Monterey High." He said, "Well, how come we don't know you?" Because I only played 3 downs. So he says, "Well, the way you're out here playing, it looks like you could play for me." And I kind of get choked up because that was like the fork in the road.
Mm-hmm.
It changed my life. But anyway, let me blow that out. So I joined the team. I make the starting lineup. I play. I make all state the first year, and then I go stay with my sister in Oakland. And while I was dating a girl, my first semester in at college, and she wanted to go to this school called Berkeley. I didn't know anything about Berkeley. I didn't know what Berkeley was, but I'm staying in Oakland, and Berkeley is the next town over. And so I said, well, shoot, I'm gonna go up here and see what this Berkeley place is all about. And you know, walk around the campus, and when you get there, you can see, wow, that's what is that? This big old stadium up there at the top of the hill. So I walk up there, and when I get up there, these guys are out on the field practicing. No coaches, just players. So I go down there, introduce myself, and they're very welcoming. They're like, "Come on, get down. If you got some game, we out here training." So start working out with them every day. And it was very obvious to me that I had the skill and ability to play at the Pac-10 level. So I worked out there every day. Then at the end, met all the coaches. At the end, when I was going get ready to go back home, I tell the coaches, thanks for your hospitality, and you guys are going to offer me a scholarship. I'll be back. And so I went back, make All-State again, and I get invited to a recruiting trip to Berkeley. And it was kind of like deja vu, because it started to become my dream. Like, I liked those guys. They were fun. They were welcoming. I knew I could play, and so they wound up offering me a scholarship. And from a kid that got cut to a kid that gets a scholarship and then winds up getting drafted, it's that's a long distance.
It
So
definitely
to be able to
is.
go. So when kids, here's an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
Every year they have like a football camp up at the junior college. And so one year I go up there and just, working with the kids and talking to them about footwork and technique.
Mm-hmm.
And coach comes up and says, there's opportunity here at this school.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are standing on the side and they start laughing like he was lying, and there was no opportunity. And I was like, hold up, coach. These guys over here laughing when you said there's opportunity. I got to tell them a story. So I tell them a story about what happened to me, and that without them, there is no opportunity. But with them, they could change the trajectory of your life. And that's what they did for me.
Now
And
tell me,
so,
because this is very important, but tell me how that experience parlayed itself to other parts of your life, your career, et cetera, et cetera.
well, because I have like a mantra that I say a lot, and part of it is that I have three favorite words: teamwork, teammate, and collaborate. And
Okay.
so um, I've been playing on teams most of my young life, my formative life. I was on teams, and the stuff that you would do as a team, you could never do by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
which is the same as when you're in business. The biggest businesses typically have the most people.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that make the most revenue are not one man bands. They're people. There's a lot of people because there's a lot of stuff to do, and they have to all work in unison, you know, for the good to happen, because only one person could do one thing, and business takes a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
very lot of similarities in team play and business and life. So I took that and I try to work with a team aspect all the time. You know,
Okay.
be a part of the team, not just be the only person on the team. Even though I work in a brokerage setting where I'm the only guy sitting at my desk, there are other people who support the process.
So have you always been interested in finance, real estate? Is that how you got started?
Well, goes kind of goes back to my dad. He was in the Army. He said he did 10 years for him and 10 years for me, and he didn't want me to go to the Army. So after he left the Army, he started a real estate company. And when I was young, 15, 16 years old, I used to ride around with him. I loved hanging out with my dad. So I'd ride around with him and he would be showing houses, and I would hear the lady say what she wanted in the house. And we walk in that house, I'd run around it real quick. I'm like, oh, this is it. And then the lady would say, I don't like the color of the paint in that bedroom. Like, don't worry about it, lady. I have painted rooms for my dad, so I'll paint the room, no problem. The lady would say, no, I want to look at another house. Like, oh, Lord, I can't understand this decision. So I knew that I liked the industry, but I didn't want to be on the side where I couldn't understand how people made their decisions. So one thing about finance is everybody wants the same thing. They want the lowest rate. They want the least amount of paperwork. They want it as fast as they can get it. And, they want to be able to trust the person that they're dealing with. So that part's easy. The I don't know how you make your decisions. That's hard for me. So
That
I
requires a lot of
chose the
patience then,
field, but
doesn't
not,
it?
I chose the industry, but not the field.
Okay. So you chose your career and then you had to figure out the people and how to, I guess, I don't know what the word would be, because it's like you say, with certain things, you had everything in that house except for the color, and they chose to move on. So how do you
Yeah,
deal with
it's
that?
like how a person would make their decisions and why. Um, I work with realtors all the time, and that is part of their job. And I definitely empower them and let them do that with no interruption from me.
Mhm.
And I think part of that is why women do well in real estate, because they think like that too. You know,
Okay.
my personality is I'm systematic and analytical, and you know, I just kind of look at things more black and white, and numbers are black and white. You know, it's um, yeah, I like my side of the fence a little better.
Right. So that's
I
a great
sold commercial real estate.
experience. What's that?
I did sell commercial real estate for 4 years,
Okay.
and people who run a business, they make decisions based on numbers more so than feeling. You know, they're running their business, this space versus that space. Okay, let's talk about the numbers. You know, they're similar in uh, you know, property value, or you know, like amenities, but this one is less expensive than this one. Okay, I'll run my business here because that affects my bottom line. I understand that.
So why'd you get back into the more of the personal real estate and not stay in the commercial?
I moved from San Jose. Well, the company moved me from San Jose to Monterey,
Okay.
and when I was, and you know, that's where I'm from, and it's a super small town. And after living in the Bay Area and then coming back to Seaside, I just didn't want to stay there because the weekends were super boring. So I moved to Sacramento because you know, you drive up to Sac back in '91, it was land everywhere. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying to myself, they're going to be building houses out here for a long time. However, the commercial real estate market, there was nothing happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, you know, it was Florin Road, Mac Road, Franklin, and you know, Arden. It wasn't. It just, you know, this town was nothing like it is
Oh
now.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, back then. So
Very
it just seemed more
interesting.
more. It seemed more like I could forge a living doing mortgage more so than doing commercial real estate.
Got
So
it.
I chose
Good.
to
Well,
do
it
that.
seems like that real estate was in your blood. So what would you say is your superpower?
Superpower. Uh, you know, it's interesting you asked that question. I took a disc assessment about 6 months ago, and what I found is that I'm um, a high C, and they call that an air traffic controller.
Okay.
So the characteristics of an air traffic controller are suspicious, uh, don't make changes readily, not super talkative. Um, you know, potential careers are accountant, programmer, lawyer, um, pharmacist, and people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, you know, Steve Jobs.
Okay.
These are guys who have the same personality type, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just scrolling down. I'm looking at my profile. So here's the words that describe high C: cautious, perfectionist, systematic, careful, analytical, orderly, neat, balanced, independent, rebellious, challenging. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like more on the perfectionist side. And so um, for me, being a team player, it makes my personality, that's where I flourish the most. So I have to think of, and I talk to my clients in those aspects. Like I'll say, you know, let's huddle up and talk about, you know, whatever it is that we talk about. I try to get everybody to the middle, and so we can all have a conversation and be on the same page, right? So I'm not like, I have a real close friend. We work together. He's a high D, super demanding. The way he talks to people is um, tells people what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to people, um, I put it in a way where it's more like asking them if they will do that instead of
Mm-hmm.
telling them what to do. And so, you know, but that's just how you collaborate is, you know, we got to get to an agreement. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm asking for you to agree to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
So it's the best thing is that I found out what my superpower was,
okay.
because you can go along in life, never have a personality profile done, and then you don't know why you do what you do.
Hmm.
You don't know why when something stressful or just a different energy comes in, how you react. That's be adaptive. And if you don't know that, you just go along in life just willy-nilly. But once you know, and you know what the other personality types are, you can see who a person is on the way in. So when you first start talking to them, people are who they are. They tell you who they are. So if you can read it, then you know how to talk to them, and you may not get offended by somebody who is speaking a certain way. That's a personality. That's just, you
Right.
can't help how they do what they do. You just have to realize who it is so that you can communicate effectively with them. And so, being a loan officer, talking to somebody brand new, that's the first thing that I'm always trying to do, is to figure out, okay, who am I talking to? What
Right.
is their personality style? What's their communication style? What is the best? How can I best give them what they need? Because some people, they want you to load them up with information.
Hmm.
Other people just want to tell you what to do. Some people want a mix. Some people want to ask a ton of questions, and you can even tell by they're asking questions, they're really not listening,
Hmm.
but they want to make sure that you sound proficient. So um, taking that taking the personality assessment was super big for me. And
Excellent. Excellent. Well, speaking of that, and I think that definitely a nice segue into this question. What is the toughest situation you faced and how did you handle it?
toughest situation, um, professionally or personally?
Either, well, whatever it is, because the most important thing is not what it was, but how you dealt with it, the process.
Um, hmm. I have a situation that's going on right now. It's
Okay.
not super big, but I had a lady who purchased a house, and um, she called me and said the insurance company is not going to continue insuring us because they're saying that I have all these problems with my roof.
Mm.
So I called the lady from the insurance company just to, try to get the other side. And she's like, "Oh my God, they're saying that there's all these leaves all over her yard, and that her roof is sagging,
Mm.
and you know that's that, and there's a tree that's over her house."
Okay.
And so, that's like for insurance company, that's like a claim waiting to happen, right? And the last thing insurance companies want to do is pay a claim because they want to keep all the money. So, so, and that would mean that was like the last couple of days. So today, I I called the friend of mine who's a contractor who actually helped get the water. She was having some problems with her water pressure, so I had a friend of mine
Mm.
who's a contractor, and fix all the pipes under the house, and I had it included in the sales price because I negotiate real well.
Hmm.
And um, so I called him, but he has a problem with the lady's husband, boyfriend, what man in her life who stays
Hmm.
there. They had a little problem, unbeknownst to her.
Mm.
So I've been called. So I've been calling her to have a conversation because I know my friend can get the job done, right? But I know that he is not going to do it if that guy is around.
Mm.
So that's where my superpower comes in, because I have the ability to talk to people in a direct fashion, but they don't get offended by it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get people to do what other people can't get people to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of the superpower, in that I'm able to explain things to a person so they understand, and it's kind of common sense to me, but it comes across like uh, you know, you can palate what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to the finish line on whatever the issue is. And I can, like I've been you when I was younger. These guys would be getting in the club and they're getting ready to box, and I could step
Mm-hmm.
in between those guys and get them to stop.
Right.
Just I don't know why, but I'm able to just to get people to do things differently.
Gonna calm
Always had
down.
that. Yeah, just it ain't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, I know that I can get my contractor to go do the work for her. I just got to talk to her and him so that he stays out the way, so she can get what she needs, so
Right.
that she can go get her homeowner's insurance. So
Yes.
so I'll have a very frank conversation with him. I'll have a different conversation with her, and so that she can get what she wants, which is homeowner's insurance.
Absolutely. So what
So,
do you find most rewarding about your work?
and I love people. You know me for a long time, Brother Jones. I just love
Right.
people. I like, man, we've had some conversations that are, very deep in nature. I have gleaned a ton from you as it relates to being a father.
Mhm.
Um, I'm always willing to listen. I'm always striving to be better. I know I don't know it all. I know that other people are better at things than I am.
Mhm.
And if I don't ask humbly, then people don't give you the information that may change your life. So
Absolutely.
I've just always been the type where I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to put my skills up against the next person's. Um, you know, but at the end of the day, everybody's just trying to feed their family, and I'm gonna keep everything honest, and and at the end of the day, I'm gonna laugh and smile about something. I
Absolutely. I
believe
think
in
that's,
laughing. I
yeah, I
believe in
think
laughing every day.
you have to. So if people wanted to get to learn more about you or about Nexa Mortgage, how would they do that? Because the story you told is very helpful. That idea of staying calm in the storm is very important. Being able to read people is something that our listeners can definitely benefit from, because so many people go through stuff and they think they're the only ones dealing with it. But when they hear your story, they know that people have dealt with it, are dealing with it, and have a way of doing it. So if people want to maybe contact you just about how you handle things, or if they wanted to know about Nexa Mortgage, Facebook, LinkedIn, websites, what would they go to? Where would they go to?
Well, they could go. I'm not into. I don't have a lot of the different social media channels. I think I'm a dinosaur as it relates to that type of stuff.
Mhm.
But I do have a Facebook page, Raymond Noble. If you typed in Google Raymond Noble, my name will pop up.
Okay.
Um, I do have a website, but my website is forward facing, and it's going to be to generate leads. It's not warm and fuzzy about who I am and all of that type of stuff.
But
Um,
people may want that. I don't know.
I would say just Google my name, and
Okay.
if you Google my name, you're gonna see a whole bunch of videos that I've done. You'll get to figure out who I am pretty quickly.
Mhm.
Facebook is a pretty good indication of who I am, the type of person I am. You're gonna see a lot of stuff about my dad and my kids, and things of that nature. Um, Call me 916-712-4554. My website is www.nexahomemortgage.com.
Okay.
And I have is that Twitter, I think it is, Ray Smooth at twitter.com.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's it, pretty much it.
Well, that's great. Well, Raymond, has been great, and the half an hour just goes by so fast. I
And
really
that was
got
a half
caught
an
up
hour
with
already.
the, what's that?
That was a half an hour already.
Already, I mean, it's good stuff. I mean, I could have just spent the whole time talking about the football, sir, because I understand what you're talking about with then how it helps build character and team and all those other things. So, but what you did was very, very beneficial. I think our listeners will definitely gain from that. So, thank you for being my guest today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was a fun conversation.
Absolutely. And folks, once again, this is WRM Work Relationships Matter. I'm your host, the Edward Jones, a certified life coach specializing in work relationships. If you want to learn more about my practice, go to www.prodestinycoaching.com, take the work relationship quiz, and call me for a free consultation. But above all, remember that relationships work for those who work on them.